Hello Fleet, and welcome back to another episode of Captain's Academy with your instructor Chase. And today's episode is going to talk all about destroyer smokescreens and what they're supposed to be used for. Well, a destroyer smokescreen really has three different uses. One, you can use it to help you lay an ambush. Two, you can use it offensively while you or your teammates are attacking somebody else. And three, it can be used defensively to cover an escape or to allow yourself to retreat. So, without much further ado, let me get into some video examples because something like this is best explained through actual gameplay. First up, let's talk about the use of smoke screens when trying to help yourself lay an ambush. Now here I am playing my Tier 7 American Premium Destroyer, the Sims. Now while the Sims is a nice fast destroyer, her torpedoes don't have the greatest of range, only 5.5 kilometers. Her detectability, on the other hand, is 7.6, which means that normally when you're playing The Sims, you will be detected way before you get into range to launch your torpedoes, which in many cases, well, that leads you to getting killed by the enemy team. But if you can use your smoke intelligently as well as position your ships in the right spots, then The Sims becomes a very powerful destroyer. So first things first, I've noticed that there's a battleship that's traveling in an area that's not very battleship friendly. But I'm not just YOLOing in there and popping my smoke and trying to get off my torpedoes. What I'm doing is I'm predicting the movement of the battleship, and at the same time, I'm trying to keep something like an island or a landmass between me and it. And by doing so, I don't have to expend my smoke until the very last moment. So here I am, continuing to travel in a direction that is opposite to the direction of the battleship's movement, and by doing so, keeping an island between us. And this way, the battleship has no idea that there's even a destroyer in this area at all. So what I'm eventually going to do is I'm going to predict that the battleship should be coming around this corner, and as I get closer to the island, I'm going to pop my smoke, and the smoke should keep me concealed from the battleship. The smoke also serves the role that just in case my torpedo attack actually fails, it allows me to get away from the battleship and hopefully grant me that concealment and cover so the battleship can't kill me with its guns. Now in this case, the battleship comes around the corner as I expected it to. I'm able to dump all my torpedoes at it. But something did seem to go wrong a little bit with the smoke, as I didn't get perfect concealment. Nonetheless, I do hit with all 8 torpedoes, and with a little bit of gunfire, I'm able to finish off this battleship quite easily. So in this next clip, I'm in my Minakaze, which is a Tier 5 Japanese destroyer, and I'm trying to hunt myself a battleship that is on the other side of this island. Once again, I'm going to be trying to set up an ambush as the battleship turns the corner. Now, in this particular case, you'll see that I'm going to use my smoke as soon as I launch my torpedoes. The smoke serves as both concealment and also really allows me to have a second chance in case I screwed up with the torpedoes the first time around. Which, as you'll see very shortly, I, well, didn't do so good with these torpedoes, as I'm only able to really land like 2 hits, and that is insufficient to kill this battleship. But the smoke that I laid gives me that option to try again. Had I not had a smoke, I would have had to make a run for it and, hope that the Fuso doesn't decide that I need to be the one that needs to die. So luckily for me here, with the smoke cloud there, this Fuso doesn't know where I am, so it gives me a chance to reload my torpedoes, come back, and get a second run. So in this particular case, I've used the smoke screen first as a defensive smoke screen to protect myself from this enemy battleship, and then I was able to use it again as an offensive smoke screen as I allowed myself to, get a second run, and of course nab myself this kill.
Enemy battleship destroyed.
Another way to use smoke is really to save it until you really need it when you're making a run on the enemy ship. So in this particular case, I see that there's an enemy Amagi that's about 10 kilometers away from me. So I'm in a big open ocean area. There's no islands really that I can ambush this battleship. So what I need to do is 1, abuse my own stealth to get as close as possible, and 2, really pay attention to where the guns on this battleship are pointed. So I'm looking and I see that the guns of this battleship are not pointed at me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn my ship and I'm going to try to close this range as quickly as possible. However, as I get to a range where I'm starting to come under fire from the battleship's secondary guns, I will engage my smoke. When you're playing by yourself, this is essentially what I mean by using your smoke in an offensive manner. You're using it when you're going on the offense. So, as I'm continuing to pay really close attention to this battleship's movements and the direction that its main guns are pointing, I'm starting to come under some fire from the secondary guns. I'm still waiting. I'm waiting for this battleship to commit to a certain direction before I engage my smoke. And there, as I see that the battleship has now decided to make this turn, I decide to engage my smoke and launch my torpedoes. Now, this smoke isn't perfect. As you see, I'm still taking some hits, but what I'm really hoping for is that the smoke allows me to kind of blink in and blink out and not be a perfect target for this battleship. Now, I managed to land a couple of good torpedo hits, but I don't fully kill off this battleship. And looking at the fact that we have this massive advantage in teams, I actually wanted to go and ram this battleship to death, but unluckily, by the time I got there, he had just been killed. One kind of fun thing that would happen in this battle is I actually nearly got killed by friendly torpedoes because this battleship had, gotten killed and was sinking, but I couldn't move anywhere, and this friendly torpedo came this close to sinking me. Now, offensive smoke screens get really interesting when you actually have a partner to sort of, work it together kind of thing. Now, in this particular case, I'm in my sims again, and on my team, just to my south, is a Japanese Tier 6 destroyer, the Mutsuki, and both of us have noticed that there is an enemy Congo that's heading towards the B cap. Japanese destroyers have much better stealth, allowing them to get closer, so what he does next is pretty cool. This Mutsuki gets in front of me, and we're both sort of closing this distance toward this enemy Congo, and then what this Mutsuki does is it lays smoke. Now, most times when a Mutsuki lays smoke, a lot of battleship drivers will think that there's only one destroyer there that's laying smoke. But the cool thing is, since I never got spotted, I managed to slide into this smoke cloud, and I'm now gaining the benefit of this Mutsuki's smoke, and by using it now with two destroyers, you get this very effective offensive smoke cloud, which means that now there's ships that's sort of hidden and that this battleship is going to get taken by surprise. So this battleship is still pretty oblivious to the fact that there are destroyers here that are pretty much ready to torp him, and his guns are completely aimed in a different direction, and he's not really taking any sort of anti-torpedo maneuver. Now, by using this Mutsuki smoke, I'm able to close within 3-point-something kilometers, and this battleship has no clue I'm there. So now I'm going to pop my torpedoes out, and I'm going to continue on following the smoke, and this battleship is not going to have a clue that I'm even here. Now, the Mutsuki, which has managed to get sort of ahead of me, is going to have to help me finish this battleship off because I don't get the perfect number of hits. But what you'll see me doing is that once I get past this Mutsuki, I start laying a smoke screen as well. So by doing this, I'm also granting this Mutsuki a second smoke screen in case his attack fails and we both need to circle around and try again. But of course, we do actually manage to complete the mission and successfully kill off the Congo with very little threat to ourselves. And this is a very good example of using smoke in an offensive manner. I'm actually really fond of this next battle because I don't actually really do much except support my team here. But the two destroyers on our team in this particular battle are absolute heroes because what they do with their smoke screen changes the course of this battle entirely. So take a look. There's 4 cruisers right now and 2 destroyers near the sea cap, and there are 3 enemy battleships pushing down this channel into the cap. Now I take some massive damage and I get down to about 8,700 health, and I'm in deep trouble. But at this time, the destroyer who's in the division with me tells us that he's going to lay a smoke between that gap in those 2 islands, and he's going to lay a smoke there, and he's going to go in and he's going to drop torpedoes against these oncoming battleships. And this battle plays out to perfection. The lead destroyer who had deployed the smoke screen has now made it into the channel area and is starting to start dropping torpedoes. The next destroyer, who's following behind the lead destroyer, is also going to be going out there pretty soon to do its job. Now the cool thing is, much like in the previous clip with the Congo, in the following destroyer you're able to sort of use that smoke without giving away the fact that you're there, and most ships are unaware that they might be 2 surprise packages in the smoke. They'll think that there's only 1 destroyer and it's already come out. So in this particular case, this Farragut almost achieves complete and total surprise and is able to launch off some very good waves of torpedoes against these battleships. Having seen the destroyers go through the smoke and launch torpedo attacks, and being in a Japanese cruiser with torpedoes, I decided to do the same thing, which is I'm going to use the smoke, get in there, and continue dropping torpedoes and cause as much havoc as possible. At this point, we've already eliminated 2 of the battleships, and there's only 1 Fuso remaining. Now, I'm in an AOBA, which only has 4 torpedoes on any one side, and against a full HP battleship, I don't actually think I can kill him in one salvo. So what I'm actually doing before I get into torpedo range is using the AOBA's fantastic 8-inch guns to do as much damage ahead of time as possible, so that when I actually get into torpedo range, I don't have to worry about, potentially not killing the Fuso off in one go. And as you can see, the AOBA does fantastic damage. Just 4 shells, or 3 to 4 shells from its forward guns, can do about 5k damage if you're hitting the right places. Now, as I come out, and I'm in a much better position to start turning and getting my torpedoes into the right place, I'm turning my ship around, and, this part is, I guess, pretty self-explanatory. I fire my torpedoes. As we watch my torpedoes travel slowly to their target, because that's the thing about torpedoes, is they're not going anywhere really fast. So as the torpedoes are going, I would just like to point out that this entire play was made possible because the destroyer laid the right smokescreen at the right time, and this allowed the team, which was basically comprised of cruisers and destroyers here, to take down 3 battleships of the enemy team, and by doing so changing the entire outcome of this battle. So while I was making this video, a question started to nag me at the back of my mind, which is, why did my smoke not fully cover me in the first 2 clips? I mean, I got my tactics and my strategy right perfectly, but what happened there? Why was I detected so quickly? At the same time, you go on the forums and you see people complaining about how these destroyers are able to magically cloak up to them. What's going on? Well, I went ahead and I tested this repeatedly, and I think I found an answer for all of you. What I think has occurred is that in World of Warships, we have the proximity detect system that World of Tanks has. So in World of Tanks, while the proximity detect for World of Tanks was like 50 meters, in World of Warships, it's 2 kilometers. So once a ship gets within 2 kilometers of you, it doesn't matter if they've got smoke or if they've got anything, they are automatically detected. So right now, what I think the magic zone for a destroyer when it comes to using its smoke properly is from the time that it can be detected, roughly around whatever the detection range of a ship is, 5.9 to like 7 kilometers. Anywhere from there to 2 kilometers is the ideal range for you to be in your smoke and basically being invisible. But once you get within 2 kilometers, so super close, you will be detected even if you are in your smoke. So that is something to keep in mind when you're trying to lay ambushes or when you're trying to actually get close to a battleship to launch your torpedoes. Whatever you do, if you pop your smoke, don't get within 2 kilometers because you will be spotted and it will make your life that much more difficult. That's all, folks. Hopefully I've been able to show you some strategies and tactics with regards to smoke screens and how to use them, and I hope that these tactics will help you in battle. I'm actually really glad that I made this video today because I discovered something new about this game, and I'm sure that by knowing that there is a proximity detect system, it'll help me in my future battles too. Once again, if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments section below and I'll be getting back to you as soon as I can. Don't forget to like and sub for more videos. Have a fantastic day, and I'll see you all on the high seas.